السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Inshallah, today we are continuing from where we stopped in the previous lesson. Okay, the lesson number 1. We stop at this particular part of the table, and then we said that we are going to continue from here. So without wasting much time, let's just continue. So here we have in this table here summarize what we have done in the previous lesson. You know, the first part of the lesson number 1, what we studied just in the last lesson. That's what he has summarized in the table here. And so if you can look at if you can see, he says that alamatul i'rab al-asliyya wal far'iyya fil ism. Okay, the i'rab al-asliyya and the far'iyya, the primary and then the secondary i'rab. That's what he has summarized in the table here. And so here we have halatul i'rabiyya, the hal, the condition of the marfu, and then is alama. Then here we have al-amil. Al-amil is actually the agent. Okay. And so we have this. Here is a sentence. So look at the sentence. Ja al-abna'u wal-banatu wal-walidani wal-aqrabuna wa Ibrahimu wa ikhwanu wa akhuhu. And here we have the various types or classifications of nouns. Jamu muannas salim, al-muthanna, jamu muzakkar salim, al-mamnu min as-sarf, and then asma'ul khamsa. And so see here this sentence. Let's break the sentence down. Okay, he says that Ja'a man al-abna'u. So here, if you can see, al-abna'u is marfu. Look at here, marfu. All these are marfu here. This line, all this line is marfu. So al-abna'u is marfu because Ja'a, this is a jumla fi'liya. It has a verb and then a fa'il, the doer. And we know that the doer is always marfu. So Ja'a abna'u. Abna'u came. I hope that is clear. Abna'u, the sons, they came. And so it is marfu because it is fa'il. And fa'il, as we know in Arabic, is always marfu. So, and then the alama, the sign that it is marfu is what? The dhamma on the hamza. I hope that is clear. Then here wal banatu, the daughters. And if you can remember, al-banatu, this pattern, this is what? Jamu mu'annas salim. I hope that is clear. And then with alif and then ta. Okay, muslimatu, mu'minatu, all these ones, they are jamu mu'annas salim. And so it is also marfu. And then the alama, the sign that it is marfu is what? Is the dhamma. We said jamu mu'annas salim, they are marfu with a dhamma on the ta. When they are marfu, there is a dhamma on the ta. But when they are masub or majrur, it's going to be kasra on the ta. How that is clear. Then mu'annas, see here, wal walidani. This is muthanna rather, not mu'annas. Muthanna means dual. How that is clear. Muthanna means dual. So when you have dual, wal walidani, how that is clear. The two parents, the two fathers. I don't know whether be it both the father and then that's the appropriate thing. The parents, the father and then the mother. So al-walidani, you see, is two, is dual. Kitabani, kalamani, walidani, that's dual. Alif and nun, and now ending with alif and nun is musanna, is dual. And so the sign that alamatul raf, the sign that it is marfu is what? Is the alif. Because if it is mansub or majrur, the alif will tend to ya. So we have walidaini, like Allah says, wa bil walidaini ihsana. So wa bil walidaini. So it is marfu. When it is marfu, the alif is what shows that it is marfu. But when it is majrur or mansub, the alif will tend to ya, and it will be walidaini, not dani. All that is clear. Then here, wal akrabun, and then akrabun. This is jamu muzakkar salim. Jamu muzakkar salim. They are characterized by the waw. Muslimuna, mu'minuna. All that is clear. Kafiruna. So the second last letter is mainly the waw, and that's the sign that it is marfu. So alamatu raf'ihi al-waw. The waw is the sign that it is marfu. Then Ibrahimu, okay, mamnu min as-sarf. Of course, we know mamnu min as-sarf, Ibrahimu. Okay, nouns or names of nouns that are actually not in Arabic language. So this word Ibrahim is not an Arabic word. It's a name that gets coined into Arabic. So such words that are there, like America. It's not an Arabic word, it's just Arabization. We take the word from somewhere and then pronounce it in Arabic language. So those ones, they are mamnu min as-sarf, and so we don't, when they are marfu, of course there is obvious dhamma, they have dhamma, all that is clear. But the others, will look at it when we come now. And here, Asma'ul Khamsa, as you can see, Asma'ul Khamsa here, the example here, wa akhuhu. Of course, when they are also marfu, there's going to be waw, akhuhu. But when they are mansub, it will be alif, akhahu. And when they are majrur, it will be ya, akhihi. All that is clear. Then mansub, let's look at mansub. So ra'aytu, so this is an agent which has make it mansub. So ra'aytu, I saw. So whatever is coming to follow is going to be maf'ulun bihi, which is the object. And so the object is always mansub. I hope that is clear. So ra'aytu al-abna'a. So here it was abna'u because it was fa'il, and fa'il is always marfu. But here it is maf'ulun bihi. Maf'ulun bihi is always mansub. So ra'aytu al-abna'a, not abna'u again. So it will now be al-abna'a. So ra'aytu al-abna'a. And the same way, wal-banati. Why? Jamu mu'annasu salim. See, whenever there is jamu mu'annasu salim, we said those ending with alif and then ta. I hope that is clear. Muslimatu, mu'minatu, the feminine plural. And those ones, the ta only take two endings. It's either dhamma or kesra. So dhamma for marfu and kesra for mansub and majrur. All that is clear. Take note of that. Jamu mu'annasu salim. The ta only takes dhamma or kesra. Dhamma when it is marfu, and kesra when it is mansub or majrur. So I hope that is clear. So ra'aytu, and here, so you say wal banati, even though it is maf'ulun bihi mansub, the sign of it being mansub is the kesra. So alamatu nasbihi al kesra, the kesra on the ta. I hope that is clear. Then wal walidaini, I hope that is clear. This is also maf'ulun bihi mansub. So when it is mansub, and this is muthanna, muthanna, that's dual. So I've already said this, when it is dual and then it is mansub, it will be daini, not dani. Oh, that is clear. So the alif is there, like when you have kitabani, it means two books. But when it is mansub, so ishtaraitu, you say kitabaini, you turn the alif to ya when it is mansub. The same way when it is majrur, the alif will turn to ya. So the alif turn to ya when it is mansub or majrur. Oh, I hope that is clear. Muthanna nouns, dual nouns. Okay, when they are marfu, there is alif. When they are mansub or majrur, there is going to be ya. So that's what we are seeing here. The sign of alamatu nasbihi is the ya. Oh, that is clear. Then the same way, jamu muzakkiru salim. Jamu muzakkiru salim. You can see here, wal akrabina. Akrabina. It's the same thing. Jamu muzakkiru salim. When they are marfu, there's going to be wa, like muslimuna. But when it is mansub or majrur, the wa will tend to ya. So ra'aytu muslimina, zahabtu ila muslimina. When it is mansub or majrur, the wa will tend to ya. So the same way, akrabuna or akrabina. Akrabuna for mansub, akrabina for akrabuna for marfu, akrabina for mansub and majrur. So that's what we have seen here. Ya is here. The alama of the nasb is the ya. Wa Ibrahima, and Ibrahima is mamnu min as-sarf. Mamnu min as-sarf, when they are mansub, of course, they will take fatha. Oh, that is clear. Ibrahima. Oh, that is clear. Ibrahima, when they are mansub, they only take two things, dhamma and fatha. They don't take kesra. Mamnu min as-sarf doesn't take kesra. They took fatha and dhamma. Dhamma when it is marfu. Fatha when it is mansub or majrur. So fatha is the sign that it is mansub. Wa akhahu, asma'ul khamsa. Asma'ul khamsa, we have already said that when they are marfu, they will have waw. When they are mansub, they will have alif. When they are majrur, they will have kesra, they will have ya. So the sign of it being mansub is the alif. Akhahu, not akhuhu. Ra'aytu akhuhu. Akhahu, ra'aytu akhahu. Now let's come to majrur. Majrur. So salamtu ala. So this ala is the agent which will make it majrur. So al-abna'i, of course. Salamtu ala al-abna'i. All that is clear. Then here, wal banati. we have already mentioned why. Wal-walidaini, we have mentioned why. Wal-akrabina wa Ibrahima wa akhihi. And then the sign is the kesra, ya, fatha, and then ya. I hope that is clear. If anything is not clear, try to text us. Inshallah, we'll try to reply and respond to you very quickly. Then now let's look at al-i'rab al-taqdiri, the estimated i'rab. So here the Sheikh is going to talk about the estimated i'rab that we learned in the previous one. He will summarize that also in the table here. Al-halatul i'rabiyya al-amil, and here is the hal marfu and an alama, mansub and his alama, majrur and his alama. Then we have here the agent. So ja'a, let's see here, ja'a sadiqi, here is mudaf ila ya al-mutakallim. There's sadiqi is a noun, and then ya al-mutakallim has attached to it. So kitabi, kalami, sadiqi. So such nouns where there is a ya al-mutakallim has attached to it, and it has become mudaf and mudaf ilayh. So such nouns, you see, it doesn't change. Hope that is clear. It's going to have al-i'rab al-taqdiri. We have explained that in the previous lesson, an estimated i'rab. So let's look at that one. Ja'a sadiqi. What's the sign? What is it? What's the i'rab of this? We'll say it is marfu. Of course, it is marfu. And what's the sign? What's the alama of the raf? What's the sign that it is marfu? Ad-dammatul muqaddara. It's an estimated dhamma. Where? On the ya. Of course, on the ya. But we can't see it. We don't put it on it. Hope that is clear. Then here, al-muhami. Ja'a sadiqi al-muhami. Let's look at al-muhami. You can see al-muhami is what? It's an ism mankus. We said the asma'ul mankusa, ismul mankus. When they come, they don't, we don't put any vowel on the ya, the last letter. We said they are words, Arabic nouns that ends with ya, and the second last letter is having kesra. So al-muhami, al-qadi, all these ones, they are similar things. So al-muhami, as we can see here, we don't put vowel on the ya except fatha. It doesn't take any vowel except fatha. So when it is mansub, you see it clearly. But apart from mansub, we don't put dhamma or kesra on it. So this kesra you are seeing here is for the mim, it's not for the ya. So al-muhami, we leave it like that. But the vowel is there, but we don't put it on it. I hope that is clear. We only estimate it in our head, but we know that there is a vowel there. It's not that it's not. We don't write it, but it is there. I hope that is clear. So we say it is estimated. Dhammatul muqaddara, estimated. The same way here, al-mustafa. This is ism maksur. Ism maksur, they are Arabic words, nouns that ends with alif mamduda or alif maksura. Alif, they end with alif. So al-mustafa, as you can see here, Mustafa, it is ending with dhamma. And with alif, and alif, as I said the last time, alif will never take a vowel. Alif in itself is not a letter. Note that alif is not a letter in Arabic. It only comes from mat. When we need to prolong something, then we add it. But when we want to write hamza or something, we bring it and then we put the hamza on it. But it in itself is not a vowel. It's not a letter. It's not counted as part of the letter. So that you do never take a vowel. You don't see alif having kesra fatha dhamma. No. I hope that is clear. So we don't put it, but it is there. So al-mustafa, it should have been al-mustafayu or al-mustafa'u. But no, alif, as I said, we don't pronounce it because it is not a letter. So you can't say al-mustafa'u. That means you are turning it to hamza. It's hamza that you can pronounce like that. So, but there is a dhamma. There is a dhamma there, but we don't write it. So we estimate it. We call it dhammatul muqaddara. So such nouns that ends with alif, they have a dhamma on the last letter when they are marfu, but we don't write it. So we only say it is dhammatul muqaddara. How that is clear. It's an estimated one. Then here, al-mansub. When it is mansub, let's say ra'aytu. Now it is now maf'ulun bihi. All that is now going to be maf'ulun bihi. Let's say ra'aytu sadiqi al-muhami al-mustafa. So I saw my friend al-muhami, the judge, the lawyer, al-mustafa, the one who has been chosen, the chosen one. So here, all this is going to be maf'ulun bihi because of the verb. There's a verb here, and so this is the object, which is maf'ulun bihi. And in Arabic, we know that the object is always mansub. So sadiqi, here it is supposed to have fatha, as I said, but we don't write it. So Sadiqi, you can't say Ra'aytu Sadiqiya. No, it's still Sadiqi. But there's a Fathatul Muqaddara. There's a Fatha, but we don't write it. All that is clear is Muqaddara is estimated. Then the same way here, Ra'aytul Muhamiya. Here the Fatha will come. As I've told you, Asma'ul Mankusa is Mankus. When they come, we don't put vowel on the ya, except in the Mansub case. When it is Mansub, the Fatha will come and you see it clearly. But apart from that one, then when it is having Dhamma, when it is Marfu, or when it is Majrur having Kesra, we don't put it on the ya. It's only Fatha that we put it. And that's for the Asma'ul Mankusa, not Maksur. Oh, that is clear. Okay. So Al-Muhammiya, then here Al-Mustafa, you see it's still like that, Al-Mustafa. And then the Fatha will be Al-Fathatul Muqaddara. Here you see Fathatul Zahira Al-Ya. Oh, that's clear. Okay. Then let's come to Majrur. When it is Majrur, Salamtu ala. So this ala is now an agent. So you see here Sadiqi, you see Sadiqi, still Sadiqi. So it is having Kesra, but Kesratul Muqaddara, you don't see it. And then here Muhammi, it will still be Muhammi, Al-Muhammi. Oh, that is clear. And then the Kesra, we see it is Kesratul Muqaddara. And then here Mustafa is the same way, Kesratul Muqaddara. Oh, that is clear. Okay. As I said, please, here in this particular first part, this first part is explaining Asma'ul Mankusa and Ism Mankusa and the Ism Maksur. They are a little bit tricky. So if you are not getting it very well, you cannot get it 100%. Sometimes you have to go a little bit further as we are going to the next lessons. And we come across examples, several examples, and we explain more. In that case, you understand it very well. But here, don't expect to just get 100% what we are explaining. If you get 100%, Alhamdulillah, that's a favor from Allah to you. But if you don't get it 100%, don't be worried. Oh, that is clear. Just try to pick something and that's the nature of this book 3. The book 3 is actually very big. He explained a lot. I mean, this is where he goes to the apex. And so he brings a lot of concepts in Arabic language that you need to know, because he knows he's coming, that's the last book. He's coming to the final end. And so he doesn't want to skip things. So certain things, he just put them there. But they are little in usage. We don't really use them. They are rare. And so, as I said, whenever we come across something and you don't really get it, if you get part of it and you don't understand it very well, just keep on going. As we go further, most of them will become clear as we go, and then we study them further, because he will repeat some of the lessons, some of the things here. We'll study them into details as we are going further. Oh, that is clear. Okay. So now let's look at here. The Sheikh says that Alamatul Asliya wal Fara'iyya wal Zahira wal Muqaddara. He's giving further example. Let's see here. Marfu. Let's look at Marfu. حضر الأبناء والبنات والوالدان والأقربون وإبراهيم وأخوه وصديقه والمحمد والمصطفى. This one we have seen it. And then Mansub, دعوت الأبناء والبنات والوالدين والأقربين وإبراهيم وأخوه. We have seen this. This is what we have explained in the table there. And then we wouldn't need to explain much here again. I hope that is clear. It's just similar, the same concept. Ittasal to be abi bi abna'i. Ittasal to I called bi abna'i. You see this B here is the agent al-amil. It is what will make everything majrur. Bi abna'i. And we said abna'i. Here abna'i, of course, is it to have kesra. Wal banati is jamu muannas salim. Of course, it to have kesra when it is mansub and majrur. Wal walidaini, this is muthanna dual, so walidaini, not walidani. Walidaini for mansub and majrur, walidani for marfu. Then akrabina, of course, jamu muzakkar salim, it will be have waw for marfu, akrabuna. And then when it is mansub and majrur, it will have the waw tend to ya. Akrabina for mansub, akrabina for majrur. Ibrahima jamu manu min as-sarf, Ibrahimu when it is marfu. Ibrahima when it is mansub, and Ibrahima when it is majrur. So fatha for mansub and majrur, dhamma when it is marfu only. Wa akhihi asma'ul khamsa, and we have seen this. Wa sadiqi wa al-muhammi. All this we have said in the explain in the table. So please, if anything is not clear, as I said, don't hesitate to just text us through our email, or those who are following our lessons on YouTube. If you just share us in the comment section, we'll try to clarify the moderator there. He will try to respond to you very swift, in a quick manner. Now let's look at here. He has given us some exercises to try. So the first one, he says that ayyin al-mu'rab wal-mabni fima ya'ti. We should ayyin. Ayyin actually means to distinguish. How that is clear. Ayyana yu'ayyinu is the verb, which means to distinguish. So he's telling us that we should distinguish al-mu'raba, the mu'rab nouns, wal-mabniya, and then the mabni nouns, fima ya'ti, in what follows. So kitabun, so let's say mu'rab, we'll give it green. Mabni, we'll give it blue. How that is clear. Okay, so let's start. Kitabun is mu'rab. Haza is mabni, so let's leave it. Later we'll come and paint it blue. Mabni is, we'll paint it blue. Hamidun. Hamidun, of course, is mu'rab. It could be hamidan. It could be hamidin. Masajida is what? It's mu'rab. Yes. Huwa is mabni. Ana is mabni. Sayyaratun is mu'rab. Allazi is mabni, except the dual. Allazai, allazani. How that is clear. And allazani. Yes. How that is clear. So it is mabni, but not fully. The dual part is mu'rab. Okay. Then ams is also mabni. Al-jami'atu is mu'rab. Muslim is mu'rab. Muslimat is mu'rab. Hazani is mu'rab, because it could be hazaini. Oh, that's clear. Al-an is mabni. Al-latani is mu'rab. It could be al-lataini when it is mansub and majrur. To be al-lataini. Man is mabni. Allah, lafzu jalala, is mu'rab. Arba'ata ashara is mabni. We have said this. Adad al-murakkaba. The numbers between 11 and 19, they are mabni, except the 12, the number 12 is ashara. It could be ithnai ashara. All that is clear. Then arba'atun is mu'rab. Amin is mabni. All that is clear. Okay. So haza is mabni. Huwa is mabni. Ana is mabni. Ana is always going to be mabni. You cannot say ani or anu. No, ana, I. It's like that. You leave it like that. No matter what follows, it will never change. Allazi, as I said, is partial. Okay, the dual is not. It's not mabni. The dual is mu'rab. Ams is like that. It's mabni. Change it. Leave it. Then al-an. Al-an. Now. Al-an. We leave it like that. It's also mabni. Man is mabni. Man is always going to be man. Man who. Okay. Arba'ata ashara is mabni. Then amin is also mabni. It's an ism fi'l, but it is mabni. Okay. Let's go to the number 2. The question number 2. He says that ma alamatul i'rab al-asliya fil ism. This is a street question. Ma alamatul i'rab al-asliya. What is the sign of the primal i'rab in nouns? So what do we say? Of course, it's the fatha kasra dhamma. Yes, so you say fatha للمنصوب والضمة للمرفوع وكسرة للمجرور. I hope that is clear. Okay. Then the third question, he says that ما علامات الإعراب الفرعية في. So what is the secondary i'rab, the sign of the secondary i'rab in بمعنى what follows? So he's come. The first one, أسماء الخمسة. Asma'ul Khamsa. We all know Asma'ul Khamsa. What is the sign? So Asma'ul Khamsa is a kana marfu'an. If it is marfu, the sign is going to be wow. Let's say akhuhu or akhuka. So lil-raf, the sign is wow. Lil-nasb, if it is mansub, the sign is going to be what? Alif. I hope that is clear. Ahahu or akhaka. I hope that is clear. And when it is majrur, the sign is going to be what? Ya. So it has 3 things. Asma'ul Khamsa, they have 3 signs. Alif. Or the first one, let's say wow. The first one is wow. That's the most common one. So wow is there. Then we have alif. Then we have ya. Hope that is clear. So the wow is for marfu. So these are the signs that it have. Waw, alif, and ya. Waw for marfu. When it is marfu, it's like ahu, okay, ahuka. And then when it will have alif when it is mansub. When it is mansub, so akhaka, ra'aytu akhaka. All that is correct. Then ya, when it is majhur, zahabtu ila akhika or zahabtu ila abika. All that is clear. So the sign, the answer is waw for marfu, alif for mansub, and ya for majrur. Then now the second one, he's asking about Jamu Muzakkar Salim. Jamu Muzakkar Salim. So Jamu Muzakkar Salim is similar thing. They have only two things. They only have two. Waw and then ya. So example, Muslimuna or Muslimina. So Muslimu with waw when it is marfu. But when it is mansub or majrur, it will have ya. So Ra'aytul Muslimina. Zahabtu ila al-Muslimina. So mansub and marfu and majrur. Mansub and majrur will use waw. It's only marfu that will have waw. All that is clear. So if you see a plural masculine noun, masculine plural noun, like Muslimuna, Muslims, standing like with waw, Muslimuna, it means it's marfu. But when it is having ya, it's either mansub or majrur. So you have to look at the sentence and see and identify whether it is mansub or majrur. Then the second one he mentioned, the last one he mentioned is musanna. That's the dual. It will have alif for mansub, for marfu, kitabani. Then it will have ya for mansub and majrur. All that is clear. Mansub and majrur have ya. Ishtaraytu kitabaini. All that is clear. That's mansub. All that is clear. Wada'tul qalama ala al-kitabaini. That is also majrur. So mansub and majrur will use ya, and marfu will use alif. I hope that is clear. Okay. Then the question number 4. Let's look at that. The Sheikh says that ma alamatul jar fil mamnu' min as-sarf. What is the sign of jar in mamnu' min as-sarf? When it is majrur, what happens to mamnu' min as-sarf? Mamnu' min as-sarf, it will never take kasra. So when it is majrur, the sign, the alamatul jar, is going to be fatha. Oh, that is clear. It's going to be fathatun zahira ala akhirihi. It's going to be a clear fatha on the last letter. So that's it. Al-fathatu zahira ala akhirihi. That's just the answer. Then number 5, the question number 5, he says that ma alamatun nasb fi jamu mu'annas salim. What's the sign of nasb in jamu mu'annas salim? So what's the answer? Jamu mu'annas salim, and then with alif and ta. So muslimatu, when it is mansub, is going to be what? Muslimati, of course. So the sign is going to be kasra. Oh, that is clear. The ta, the jamu mu'annas salim, they are those ending with alif and ta. Muslimatu, mu'minatu, qanitatu. So all these ones, that's plural feminine. It means it's talking about a group of people who are all females. Plural feminine plural nouns. So when you have that, the ta only take two things. It either take dhamma or kesra. It will take dhamma when it is marfu, and it will take kesra when it is mansub or majrur. Oh, that is clear. So if you see muslimati, it means it's either mansub or majrur. You have to check the sentence and see. But when it is having dhamma, it means it's marfu. So that's it. Now the Sheikh says that ma alamatu. Okay, that's what we have seen. Then he says here, hati mithalan lil maqsur. You want ism maqsur. We should come with an example for ism maqsur. Waja'alhu fi thalathi jumalin, and put it in 3 sentences. Ala an yakuna marfu'an fi ula, such that it will be marfu in the first, in the first sentence. Wa mansuban fi thaniya, and mansub in the second example. Wa majruran fi thalitha, and majrur in the third example. Okay, so let's give an example of an ism maqsur. What's an example of an ism maqsur? Isa or Musa. So let's say Musa. You see it is ending with alif maqsura. So Musa. وَجَعَلَهُ فِي ثَلَاثِ جُمَلٍ, and put it in 3 sentences. أَلَا يَكُونَ مَرْفُوعًا فِي الْأُولَى, that the first should be marfu. So let's say Zahaba Musa ila akhihi. Musa went to his brother. Zahaba Musa ila akhihi. So Zahaba Musa. Musa is the fa'il, is the doer. And we all know in Arabic the doer is always marfu. So that's the first example. Zahaba Musa ila akhihi. Now the second example, he says that wa mansuban fi thaniya, and mansub in the second one. So let's say daraba al-waladu, or let's say haza ar-rajulu daraba Musa. This man hit Musa. Haza ar-rajulu daraba Musa. So it's still Musa, the same spelling, but it is, in that case it's now mansub because it's the object, and object is always the maf'ul bihi is always mansub. But still the same Musa is there. You can't say Musa ya. All that is clear. That's ism maksur. Then the third one, wa majrur fi thalitha, and majrur in the third, the one in the third sentence. So let's say zahabtu ila Musa. It's still the same thing. So the first one, ja'a Musa, is marfu. Haza ar-rajulu daraba Musa. This man hit Musa. It's still Musa, but it's mansub. Then zahabtu ila Musa is majrur, but all, then in all cases the nouns shall remain the same spelling. So the sign, if they ask you what's the sign, the alama, you are going to say the first one, when it is marfu, you see it's a dhamma, that is muqaddara, is estimated, but you don't see it. The same thing here you say a fatha, that is muqaddara, you don't see it. The same thing here, you say it is a kesra, that is muqaddara, you don't see it. In both cases, in all cases, all the three cases, the spelling is still Musa. And when you are asked, you say the sign is muqaddara, either dhammatul muqaddara, fathatul muqaddara, or kesratul muqaddara, depending on which one. That's what you see. You tell them. Okay. Now here the Sheikh is saying that let's come to the number 7, the question 7. He says that hati misalan in mankus. So now here the same thing for, but he's now going to mankus. As-sabit ya, bimana the ya should be present. You know ism mankus, the ya could be there or not. Let me explain. An example of ism mankus is, let's say if I say al-qadi. So see al-qadi. Okay, so here I have al-qadi like this. Okay, so if you are observing like this, this is an example of an ism mankus. Ism mankus, we say the announs, they end with ya, and the second last letter is having kesra, so that's an ism mankus. But if the alif or lam is not there, the ya will go away. I've said this in the previous lesson. We have said this. If the alif or lam is not there, the ya will go away. So if I don't want to make it ma'rifa, I'll say qadin. Hope that is clear, like this. I'm using my mouse to write, so please just pardon me for that. I'll say qadin like this. You can see it is here, it is what? Nakira. So qadin, that's how it will be. The alif wal lam, it always goes with the ya. If you remove the alif wal lam, meaning if you make it nakira, the ya will not be there. I don't know whether that's understood. So here, that's what Sheikh is telling us here. Sheikh is saying that hati misalan, we should come up with an example for ism mankus. As-sabit ya, meaning the ya should be there, meaning it should be what? It should be ma'rifa. It should have alif wal lam. That's what he's telling us. Because if he's saying the ya should be there, the ya will, if the ya is there, the alif wal lam is going to be there. I hope that is clear. Because if the alif wal lam is not there, the ya will also be there. I hope that is clear. Okay. وأدخله في 3 جمل على أن يكون مرفوعا في الأولى ومنصوبا في الثانية ومجرورا في الثالثة. And put it in 3 sentences. 1, it should be marfu. 2nd, it should be mansub. 3rd, it should be majroor. So let's give an example. So let's take the al-qadi. Let's take the same word. Let's say the same example. So let's say the first one, I'll say ja al-qadi. Ja al-qadi. So I just add ja to this word. Ja al-qadi. All that is clear. The judge came here. That's it. The second one, he says that it should be mansub. It should be mansub. And I told you it's a mankus. When they have dhamma, we don't write the dhamma on the ya. It's only fatha that we write on the ya. When it is mansub, we put the fatha on the ya. So if you are going to say, you are going to say ra'aytul qadiya. When it is mansub, make sure you write the vowel on the ya. But dhamma and kesra, we don't write it on the ya. So note that for ism mankus. Ism mankus, when they are marfu or majrur, we don't put the sign, the vowel on the ya. But it's only fatha, we put it on it. I hope that is clear. So if you get to the mansub part, that's the second example. We are going to say, example, ra'aytul qadiya with alif with ya on the with fatha on the ya. Then the last one, majrur fi salisa. Majrur, let's give it majrur. So if I say zahabtu ila al-qadi, you have to remove the ya. Zahabtu ila al-qadi. I went to the qadi, the judge. So just say zahabtu ila al-qadi. And so if you are asked what is the sign of the kesra, what's the sign of the majrur, you are going to see al-kesratul muqaddara. The same way for the marfu, you don't put the wow, the dhamma on the ya. But if you are asked, you see it is dhammatul muqaddara. I hope that is clear. Okay. Then the next one, he says that the same example, hati misalan lil manqus al-mahzuf fil ya. You should give an example of a manqus, but al-mahzuf fil ya, the ya should be removed. And I told you clearly, if the ya is removed, meaning the alif wa lam should also go away. So it should be nakira. It should be what? It should be nakira. So here we are going to use qadin. Qadin. So let's say qadin like this. Qadin. So let's pick this one, qadin. Qadin. So if I have qadin here, if I get to the jumla, the first one should be marfu. So I'll say ra'aytu qadin. Ra'aytu qadin. That's it. As it is. So if I'm asked what is the sign that it is marfu, I'll say the sign that it is marfu is alamatu raf'ihi huwa al-dhammatul muqaddara ala ya'il mahzufa. You can see here that the ya has been removed. The ya, there was a ya here, but we have removed it. It is qadi with ya. But so if I'm asked that, and it had a dhamma which was hidden. So if I'm asked that what is the sign that it is marfu, I would say that the sign that it is marfu is the dhammatul muqaddara, the estimated dhamma, ala ya-il mahzufa, on the ya which has been removed. So whenever you see an ism manqus that is there and it is nakira, it doesn't have alif wa lam, and so it doesn't have ya, and you are asked to give the i'rab, you have to say that, let's say if it is marfu, you have to say that the sign that it is marfu is the dhammatul muqaddara ala ya'il mahzufa, on the ya which has been removed. So that is not this one, these two kesra, the kesrataini on the dot, that's not the sign, that's not the i'rab. There is a hidden ya, yes, it has been removed. So you give the i'rab based on that ya, but not based on the dhamma. The dhamma is not the last letter, it's the second last letter. There is a ya here, just that it has been removed, and you still have to give the i'rab based on that ya. Oh, that is clear. Okay. Now here, wa mansuban fi thaniya. I told you whenever there is mansub, the ya will come back. The ya has to be, there should be fatha on the ya. So in this case is, so now note, I said when the alif or lam is not there, you have to remove the ya. But when it is mansub, as I said, in mansub case, the fatha will have to be written on the ya clearly. So in that case, you have to bring the ya back, because you can't put a vowel there. You can't do this. You can't do this to put fatha on an empty space, to come and put a fatha here. And if I ask you the fatha is on what, and you tell me there is a ya here but it has been removed, no, you don't put a fatha on an empty space, so you have to bring back the ya. So that's the alif wa lam is there, it comes with the ya, but the alif wal lam, if it's not there and the ya is there, meaning it is in mansub case, and the fatha have to be written, and then it need the ya there to be written. Hope that is clear. So you can put the fatha, you have to bring back the fatha, the ya, and put the fatha on it when it is mansub. Hope that is clear. Now majrur, zahabtu ila qadin, the same thing. You have to, the ya will it not be there. So zahabtu ila qadin. If you are asked about the Arab, you see the alamatu jarrihi huwa al-kasratu muqaddara ala ya al-mahzufa. Okay, it's a little bit tricky, but if you take your time, alhamdulillah, you explain it, you understand it very well. Hope that is clear. As I said, if you don't get everything, don't be bothered. As we go further, it will become very clear. Okay, هات مثالا للمضاف إلى ياء المتكلم وأدخل في ثلاث جمل وأدخله في ثلاث جمل. So you should give an example for mudaf to a ya al-mutakallim. So like kitabi, hope that is clear. Sadiqi, that's an example of that, such a word that has ya mutakallim attached to it, and the mudaf ilayh. And then he says that three sentences, salasi jumalin, three sentences, an yakuna marfu'an fil ula, that in the first one it should be marfu. So let's say kitabi or sadiqi. So if I say ja'a sadiqi, that's marfu. And then the sign that it is marfu is the dammatul muqaddara. It's a dammatul muqaddara on the ya, of course. So wa mansuban fi thaniya, and then mansub in the second one. So if I say ra'aytu sadiqi, there's no fatha, but the sadiqi you say it is marfu. It is yes, it is mansub because it is maf'ulun bihi. So ra'aytu sadiqi, that's maf'ulun bihi. The sadiqi is maf'ulun bihi, but no fatha on it. You say it's a fathatul muqaddara. ومجرورا في الثالثة, مجرور in the third one. So if I say ذهبت إلى صديقي, it's still majrur, and so you tell them that the alama, the sign of the majrur is a kasratul muqaddara. Okay. Number 10, he says that أعرب ما تحته خط, أعرب ما تحته خط, that we should give the Arab of that below which is the line. So if you see anything that is under it, there is a line, we should give the Arab of it. So let's take here. Yuhibbu. So what is here? Is it Allahu or Allaha or Allahi? Al-muttaqin. Immediately you see muttaqin like this. It's not normal. This is muzakkar salim. So it should be muttaqun. But if you see it muttaqin, meaning it is either mansub or majrur. But here there is no alama to jar. There is no sign. There is no any harf jar here. So it is mansub. So yuhibbullah. So it means it's the object. Of course, it's the object. It's the maf'ulun bihi. And so as it is the object, of course the other one should be the doer. So Allah should be the doer. All that is clear. So you come and say Allahu, not Allah. So yuhibbullahu al-muttaqin. Allah likes the muttaqin. So the muttaqin is the object, maf'ulun bihi, mansub, and the sign of the mansub is the ya here. Hope that is clear. So that's how you analyze the sentences. If you understand this, of course, pathway is a pathway to understanding chunk of the Quran. I don't know whether you get me. There are some certain, small sentences in the Quran, ayahs of the Quran. You can easily get the meaning, knowing how the words are placed. So, خلق الله السماوات جمع مؤنث salim. They only take dhamma and kasra. So let's see. It will take dhamma when it is marfu. It will take kasra when it is mansub or majrur. So khalaqallahu, Allah created. All what follows is now the object of the verb. So the object is the maf'ul bihi, which is always mansub. Mansub for jam'u muannas salim is kasra. Wal ardo, this one is a normal noun. It could be ardo, ardi, ardo, ardu, ardo, ardi. It could take 3 cases. So khalaqallahu samawati, not samawata. Jam'u muannas salim, they will never take fatha. It's only dhamma or kasra. Dhamma for marfu, kasra for mansub and majrur. Iftah, faka, of course, faka. Open your mouth. This one is fu, is from the asma'ul khamsa. Okay, abun, akhun, famun. So this one is the famun. And so we have called fu. So zu, it's the similar thing. So fu for marfu, But when it is iftah fakia, open your mouth. So that your mouth is now the object, because it's mansub, is going to be having alif. Hope that is clear. So aina sayyaratu, what is the car of your father? So this is maf'ulun bihi. I'm saying maf'ulun bihi, sorry. This is mudaf ilay. Mudaf ilay. Where is the car of your father? So mudaf ilay. Mudaf ilay is always majhul. And so aina sayyaratu abika, of course. Hafiztu surataini. This is the object. Of course, we all know object is mansub. And so instead of suratani is two surahs. But when it is maf'ulun bihi, when it is mansub or majhur, the alif will turn to ya. I've said this. So kitabani, but when it is mansub or majrur, kitabaini. Not kitabani again. Kitabani for marfu, kitabaini, the alif will turn to ya when it is mansub or majhur. So surah, the same way suratani, two surahs. But if I want to say hafiztu, this one is now maf'ulun bihi, which is mansub. So it will now take the ya, not alif. So surataini, not suratani. Is that clear? Okay. Now here, a'rifu qadi makkata. So a'rifu qadi. So here I know, but this one is ism what? Mankus, the end of ya followed by kesra. So this one is simple. Arif qadi makkata. Why? Why is here makkata? Let me explain. It's mudaf ilay. Mudaf ilay is always majrur. Agreed? This mudaf ilay. The qadi of Makkah, the judge of Makkah. I know the judge of Makkah. So here, see something. This is the all. This is the object. In Arabic, that's how we analyze it. See, a'arif is the verb. I know. What do you know? I know something. That something is the object of the verb know. Agreed? Yes. But the object in itself is mudaf and mudaf ilay. So when the object is mudaf and mudaf ilay, the mudaf will take the fatha. The mudaf is what will take the nasb case. I don't know whether you get me. The same thing, if you have something that is a particular word which is majhur, but it is still in itself is mudaf and mudaf ilay. The mudaf, the first one, is what will take the ruling. The other part will take the ruling of mudaf ilay. I don't know whether you get me. So arif qadiya. So here should take fatha. I told you it's mankus. Always they will have fatha written on the ya if only they are mansub. But in marfu and majhur, the ya will not have any sign on it, any vowel on it. The ya will always take, it only takes fatha. You can only put fatha on the ya. But dhamma and kesra, we don't write it. We only estimate it. Muqaddara. But here it's going to be zahira, written clearly. So, a'rifu qadiya makkata. Why is here makkata and not makkati? Because it's mudaf ilay. Mudaf ilay is always majhur. It's mamnu min as-sarf. Mamnu min as-sarf, when they are majhur, they are supposed to take kesra, they will take fatha. How does it say? So, a'rifu qadiya makkata. So that's how it should be. The next one, kharaja al-jarha. The jarha is the wounded person. So jarha is a maksur. Of course, we'll just leave it like that. Min al-mustashfa. Of course, min al-mustashfa. For ism maksur, it's only going to be muqaddara. No matter whether it is having dhamma, it is having fatha, it is having kesra, you don't write anything on the alif. As I told you, alif will never take any vowel. So you leave it like that. When it is marfu, dhammatul muqaddara. Mansub, fathatul muqaddara. Majhur, kesratul muqaddara. But ism mankus is only when it is mansub that you write the fatha. Marfu and majhur, you don't write it. It's going to be muqaddara. So just note it like that. Simple. Then number 8, he says that akhaza sadiqi. Akhaza sadiqi. So this one, of course, is an ism that is mudaf ilay. The ya is mudaf to ya mutakallim. Oh, that is clear. Is mudaf ilay. So here in that case, is to have is marfu. Akhaza sadiqi is the one doing it. The doer is marfu. But there is no dhamma. Why? The dhamma is muqaddara. It's only estimated. Kitabi is mansub, but it is going to be muqaddara. We don't put fatha on the ya. Because this not, it's only in ism manqus that we can put fatha on the ya. But here is mudaf ilay, mudaf to ya mutakallim. We don't put the fatha. All the cases, dhamma kesra, fatha is going to be muqaddara. Min hakibati. And I have to explain whether it is marfu, mansub or majrur is going to be muqaddara for any noun that is attached to ya mutakallim, like kitabi, qalami, all those words. The ninth one, he says that اشتريت هذا ب15 ريالا. اشتريت هذا, I bought this ب15. So you see there's a B here, which is hard for jar, but still it is still hamsata, as said, and I will repeat. Okay, nouns, I'm saying nouns, adadul murakkaba, numbers that are between 11 and 19, we call them adadul murakkaba. They are mabni, they are fixed. They will always come like that. Khamsata ashara, arba'ata ashara, salasata ashara. That salasata, arba'ata, khamsata, the ta, ending with fatha is fixed. You don't change it. It's only the number 2, number 12. Okay, it's na ashara or it's nai ashara. That's when it could take it's na, or it could take it's nai. But the rest, apart from the number 12, the rest, they are always going to be on that pattern. Saba'ata ashara, tis'ata ashara, like that. The fatha, you don't change it, no matter whether they say half a jar here or what. You don't change it. They are mabni. They are part of the mabni. If you can remember when we were doing mabni, okay, mabni, we count them as part. Okay. Now here, ana muhamin. Ana muhamin. I am a lawyer. So muhamin. I told you when the alif walam is there, this is an ism mankus. When the alif walam is there, the ya will have been there. It is marfu. So if they ask you what's the alama, what's the sign that it is marfu, I told you this is not the last letter. The meme is not the last letter. There is a ya here, but it has been removed because it's nakira. It comes. Most of the time it goes with the alif walam. And if the alif walam is not there, the ya will not be there, except when it is mansub. We'll bring the ya and put the fatha on it. But when it is dhamma, marfu, or kesra majrur, you don't put the ya. And if you are asked about the i'rab, you say it is majrur with a kesra. Al kesra to muqaddara ala ya il mahzufa. There's a kesra that is estimated on the ya which has been removed. So the meme is not the last letter, it's the ya which has been removed. And always when you are asked about i'rab, you should do it based on that ya, not based on the meme. As I said, is the last letter is always the ya. So whether the ya is there or not, your i'rab should be based on the ya. I don't know whether you get me. Okay. So if the ya is there, you simply say kasratul muqaddara. If it's not there, you say kasratul muqaddara ala ya il mahzufa, on the ya which has been removed. I don't know whether you get me. Yes. Now let's look at marfu'at min al-asma. Here he's coming to mention things. There are some certain things by default they are marfu. By default they are marfu. The first one he mentioned is al-mubtada wal khabar. Of course, al-mubtada and khabar, they are always marfu. Allahu akbar. Allahu akbar. Allah is the mubtada, and then the khabar is akbar. That's the news. So Allah is the mubtada, the subject, and then the predicate, what gives us information, is akbar. Allah is the subject. Great is the information, and that's akbar. And in Arabic, these two things, al-mubtada and khabar, they are always marfu. So you can say Allahu akbara, or Allahu akbaru, or you come and say Allahi akbaru, or Allah akbaru. It doesn't make meaning. The mubtada and khabar, they are always going to be marfu bidamma. I hope that is clear. Okay, sometimes not bidamma, but always marfu. Just take note. Then the second one, ismu kana. We have studied all this. He's just going to list them and tell us that no matter where we find it in a sentence, these things, they are always going to be marfu. Ism kana. We have seen ism kana. Kana al-babu maftuhan. Kana al-babu maftuhan. The ism kana is what follows immediately after the kana. So kana al-babu maftuhan. So when kana comes, we have ism kana and khabar kana. So the ism kana is what follows the kana immediately. So kana Allahu ghafuran rahima. So kana al-babu. So this one is the ism kana, and it's always marfu in a sentence. And the opposite is the khabar. The khabar is always mansub. So kana Allahu ghafuran rahiman. I hope that is clear. So you can say kana Allah. That's wrong. It's a grammatical error. Immediately kana comes, the next noun following, as far as is the ism kana, it should be marfu. So we have to know that. So it's part of the marfu'at min al-asma, things that are marfu by default. Then khabaru inna inna Allah ghafurun inna alhamda lillah. So when inna comes, of course what follows is the ism inna, and that one is opposite. So ism inna and ism kana, they are opposite. How that is clear. So inna Allah, this one is the ism inna, is always mansub. Yes, it's always mansub, and what follows is going to be marfu. So khabaru, and that one is the khabaru inna. So khabaru inna is always marfu. We have studied this in the book 2, just like he's bringing it up again. Then fa'il, of course fa'il is always going to be marfu. Khalaqana Allahu, that's clear. Ja al-mudiru. So you can't say ja al-mudira. No, the mudir came, he's the doer. So why are you giving him fatha? Ja al-mudira or ja al-mudiri? No, you have to say ja al-mudiru, because he's the fa'il, and fa'il in Arabic language is always marfu. The next one, na'ibul fa'il. Na'ibul fa'il. Na'ibul fa'il is when you have a majhul verb. Majhul verb means passive verb. A verb where the doer is not known. The verb is the doer is not mentioned. So khuliqal insanu min tin. Human being was created. So in those verbs, when we have that verbs, the object acts as if is the doer. So we call it a na'ibul fa'il. Na'ib means deputy, assistant. So na'ibul fa'il, it means the deputy doer. It acts like the second doer. It was the object, but it's now acting as if it's the doer. It's like in the classroom when the teacher is not there. The students, they themselves, they are the object. They are those that the teacher is teaching, but the teacher is not there. So one of the students becoming the teacher. Meanwhile, he was the object. So similar thing here. Khuliqa. So if I say suriqa kitabi, my book was stolen. Who stole it? I don't know. So such nouns, such verbs, we call them majhul verbs. We'll still study them into details as we go further. So don't bother much. Okay, we have a whole lesson that's dedicated to verbs. We'll study each of the verbs into details. So we don't need to bother much. But here he's just mentioning the na'ibul fa'il, which is the object, is the object there, which is whose verb has a doer, has a hidden doer. The doer is not known. So when you have a majhul verb, the object is called a na'ibul fa'il, and it's always going to be marfu. So if I say khuliqal insanu, human being was created, I hope that is clear. So when is the one who has been created is supposed to be mansub, you can say maf'ulun bihi, but in this case not maf'ulun bihi, because the verb is not a normal verb, it's a passive verb, and we call it na'ibul fa'il, which is always marfu in Arabic language. So these are the things that he has mentioned. Okay, mubtada wal khabar, ismu kana, khabaru inna, fa'il, and a na'ibul fa'il. I hope that is clear. This we have treated this into details in the Ajrumiyya lessons. If you want more, to learn more on them, you can visit our Ajrumiyya lessons. Same on this particular channel. Those on YouTube, the same channel, you can search in the playlist, you get Ajrumiyya classes. And as I said, we don't need to bother much as we go further. Those who are following using this book, you can still just keep online. Okay, keep following as we go further. There are lessons that are dedicated to them, each of them, and we'll study them into detail. So no need to worry. Now mansubat min al asma, there are some nouns always by default they are mansub. They are going to be mansub. Let's see them. He says ismu inna, of course inna. When inna comes, the noun follower is going to have a tawkid. It's going to have an emphasis. So inna Allaha ghafurun. Indeed, Allah is forgiven, extremely forgiven. So inna, when inna comes, what follows? Inna alhamda, you are attending the khutbah, the khatib. You just the one coming to give the sermon, just stand and he say inna alhamdulillah. So he begin by inna alhamda. Indeed, all praise and gratitude, alhamd, al-madhu wa shukr. So whenever inna comes, then now following it immediately, as far as is the ism, is going to be mansub. So that's it. You don't ask why is it mansub. That's why the Sheikh is mentioning. So all these ones, if you see them, you don't ask why is it mansub, because they are mansubat min al asma. By default, they are mansub naturally. So ism inna, when inna comes, then now following it immediately, all that is clear, is going to have, is going to be mansub. Then the second one, khabaru kana, the khabar of kana, the information of kana. So kana ta'amu lazizan, the food was delicious. So if you want to say, okay, like you say kana Allahu ghafuran, Allah has always been merciful. So kana Allahu, Allah has always been. Then the news that you are now coming to give, it should be mansub. That's what we say in Arabic. Kana Allahu, Allah has always been merciful. So that merciful, it should be mansub. Such a thing should be mansub. So if I say that the food was, kana means was. So the food was, the information that I'm coming to give in Arabic language, we call it khabaru kana, and it is always going to be mansub. Kana ta'amu lazizan, the food was delicious. Hope that is clear. Okay. Now here, the third one he mentioned, al-maf'ulu bihi. Of course, maf'ulu bihi, the object. This one we have been seeing it every day, day in, day out. The object of the verb is always going to be mansub. So darabatul walada, we don't say darabatul al-waladu. No, darabatul walada. I hit the boy. Why? Because he's the object, the recipient of the verb. It has to be mansub. So example here, fahimtu darsa, I understood the lesson. All that is clear. Now the fourth one, al-maf'ulu fihi. Al-maf'ulu fihi. Maf'ulu fihi is actually is similar to zarf. It's similar to zarf, an adverb. Just that it doesn't come with fi. You know, sometimes. So let's see the example. The example will tell us more. So here, safara abi laylan. My father traveled at night. Laylan. It's, you can see here is clearly an adverb of time. Safara abi laylan. This laylan part, it comes to tell you the time when he did that, when he traveled. So safara abi laylan. So we call it maf'ulun fihi. Actually, it's like zarf zaman, but zarf zaman mostly is almost the same. It's almost the same, like the two schools of thought. They have the schools to observe two schools of, there's two schools of grammar. Okay, the Hoovan and the Basari schools. So it's just different names that they give to it. One says zarf and the other says maf'ulun fihi. But actually, there's literally no difference between them. So it's just similar as the same as zarf. Just that maf'ulun fihi, mainly when they come, they are mansub like that. But zarf could come with fi. So instead of saying safara abi laylan, I could say safara abi fil layl. So if I say fil layl, it's not more zarf. It's not more called maf'ulun fihi. It's now called zarf zaman fil layl. I hope that is clear. So that's the difference that you need to know. If I say safara abi fil layl, it means my father traveled in the night. So this fil layl is zarf zaman. It comes to give time. But I could remove the fil layl and replace it by saying laylan. I hope that is clear. With fathatain. And in that condition, it's called maf'ulun fihi. I hope that is clear. Maf'ulun fihi. Okay. So if I say Ja'a rajulu sobahan, the man came here early morning. So that sobahan is maf'ulun fihi. Maf'ulun fihi, all the time you see it with fathatain on the ending. But when it's the same as zarf, I could say Ja'a rajulu fi sobah. Or I could, and that fi sobah is zarf zaman. Okay. Or I could remove it and say sobahan, and that will now be maf'ulun fihi. I don't know whether you get the difference. Maf'ulun fihi is like fil layl replaced with laylan. So this laylan will be the maf'ulun fihi. And this fil layl is also zarf. But literally they are talking about the same thing. They are substitute. They could be substituted with one another. But zarf doesn't come like this in this matter. In this manner of having fathatain at the end. That is maf'ulun fihi specifically. I don't know whether you get me. Okay. You don't need to worry. As we go further, there will be a full lesson dedicated for maf'ulun fihi. We'll learn it more. Number 5, he says that al-maf'ul li ajlihi. Maf'ul li ajlihi is also called maf'ulun lahu, which means the reason. It gives the reason why something is done. So see here, ma kharajtu min al-bayt khawfan min al-har. Okay, so ma kharajtu min al-bayt, I didn't leave the house. Khawfan min al-har, fear of the heat. Due to fear of the heat. So all these parts, it gives the reason. Maf'ulun li ajlihi. Ajli means reason. Okay, fa'altu kaza li ajlika. I did this for your sake. the sake of something. So ajl, so maf'ulun li ajlihi, maf'ul that gives the sake or the reason why something is done. So if I say ضربت الولد انتقاما, I hit the boy revengeful or revengeful in order to revenge. It gives the reason why I did that. I did that to revenge. Meaning he also did something to me. So if I say ضربت الولد انتقاما, mean I hit him in order to revenge. Intiqam is revenge. So it comes to give the reason why you did something. I don't know whether you get me. Okay. So like here, ma kharajtu min al-bayt. I didn't leave. Mean it was very hot. The outside was very hot. So he says that ma kharajtu min al-bayt. I didn't leave the house. Khawfan min al-har. Fear of the heat. Man, due to fear of the heat. So all this part is called maf'ul li ajlihi. And as I said, all of them, we'll still look at them into details. There will be dedicated lessons for each of them. Maf'ulun fihi, maf'ulun li ajlihi, maf'ulun ma'ahu, maf'ulun bihi, habaru. All this one we'll still look at them, study them into details. So don't bother much if you're not explaining, if you're not understanding very well. The next one, he says that maf'ulun ma'ahu. Maf'ulun ma'ahu is what we call with. In Arabic language, you say with. It's simply when you want to say something happened with, but you don't want to use ma. If I want to say, let's say I went to China with my brother, and I don't want to say, in Arabic, with means with, what's the word for with? You say ma. So if I say zahabtu ila sin ma'a abi or ma'a akhi, zahabtu ila sin ma'a akhi, I went to China with my brother, but I don't want to use ma. So in that case, we have something that we call maf'ul ma'ahu. You can use harful atf like wa and make the second noun fatha, and it will mean ma. So I will say safartu ila sin wa. Let's say my brother name is Muhammad, so I'll say wa Muhammadan. I don't know whether you get me. Wa Muhammadan, and I'll make sure there is fatha on the ending. Wa Muhammadan. So it comes when you have wa, and then you give the second noun fatha. These are the two things that need to be in place. It will mean ma. So if I say, let's say there's a child here disturbing me, so I say izhab or il'ab. I want to tell the child to go and play with his brother. Go and play with Yasir. So I'll say, I can either say il'ab ma'a Yasir, play with Yasir. If I don't want to use ma, I will say il'ab wa Yasiran. I'll give it fathatain. I will give it fatha, and that will mean maf'ul ma'ahu, meaning it's still serving the purpose of ma. It still means ma. It doesn't mean play and Yasir. It doesn't mean play and Yasir. If I say il'ab wa Yasiran, it doesn't mean play and Yasir. It means play with Yasir. Il'ab ma Yasir. That's what it still means. We call it maf'ul ma'ahu. It is used when you simply don't want to use ma, and you can use this terminology. And as I said, don't bother much. Maf'ul ma'ahu, it will come further. We'll study it into details. In simplicity, the Ajrubiya lessons, we just explain them into details. All of them, in one lesson. So I will encourage you, and there are separate lessons. Even in those lessons, there are separate lessons which explain them into details. I will be very happy if you could just check through and then watch it out, inshallah. Other than that, as I said, when we go further, you don't need to worry. When we go further, we'll study them into details. So no bother. The last one is maf'ul mutlaq. Maf'ul mutlaq. Maf'ul mutlaq is absolute object. Okay, in English we don't have it. So yaqra'ul hamidu qira'atan jayyidan or jayyidatan. Hamid is reciting a nice recitation. So if I want to say, it's come for emphasis. Okay, darabtul walada darban. I beat the child severe beating. So when you want to absolute emphasize something, all that is clear. If I say qataltuhu qatlan, I meaning you really killed, not necessarily killing, maybe you kill him and cut him into pieces. Subhanallah. Okay, massacre him. So that's qatala. You can see that qatalahu qatlan. He killed him Not just any killing, but severe killing. Like there is no possibility of life again. No, he killed him and then he dismantled him. So it comes to emphasize severely. So like Allah says, وَمَزَّقْنَاهُمْ كُلَّ مُمَزَّقٍ وَمَزَّقْنَاهُمْ كُلَّ مُمَزَّقٍ, meaning we tore them apart. I mean, absolute tearing. There was no possibility of them recovering again. You know. So such things we call them maf'ul mutlaq, to absolutely emphasize your thing, meaning you did it and there's no two ways about it again. Like what we did it, we really did it in a perfect manner, or to the extreme. I don't know what I get. We call it maf'ul mutlaq. We'll study it in today. No worry. Here he just mentioned them, so we just do this just serve as a brief introduction to them. But as I said, there will be separate individual lessons for each of them. Al-hal is the condition in which something is done. Is the condition in which something is done. So we'll see here, Jaddi yusalli qa'idan. My grandfather, he prays sitting. So it gives the condition in which he prays. So we call it hal. Okay, so if I say Ja ar-rajulu rakiban, the man came here riding, it gives the condition in which he came. We call it hal. I don't know whether that's clear. Okay. Then the ninth one is tamyiz. And as I said, when that comes, it's always going to be mansub. Hal is always going to be mansub. Please note that all these ones, when they come, they will always be mansub. Hal is mansub. Jaddi yusalli qa'idan. Ja ar-rajulu rakiban. The man came here rakiban, riding. All that is clear. Or if I say Ja ar-rajulu mashiyan, the man came here walking. All that is mashiyan. You can see is mansub. Okay, then here tamyiz. Tamyiz is for specification. Maw-izah yumayyizu, it means to distinguish, to specify. So from it we have tamyiz. Okay, so it comes to distinguish, to give specification. So ana akbaru minka sinnan, I am older than you. Ana akbaru minka, I am bigger than you. In terms of what? If I say I'm bigger than you, in terms of what? There could be different things that you could be, I mean, in which you could be bigger than me. Then you say sinnan in terms of age. So it has specified, it has done tamyiz, it has specified. So we call it tamyiz. And that is always going to be mansub. Whenever you see something like that, it's going to be mansub. All that is clear. So if I say ana ahsanu minka khattan, ana ahsanu minka, it means I'm better than you. In terms of what? Then I say khattan, handwriting. Khat is the handwriting. So if I say ana ahsanu minka khattan, I am better than you khattan in terms of handwriting. So I've specified by saying that khattan, and that's what we term as tamyiz, and it's always going to be mansub. As I said, we studied tamyiz further, inshallah. Then we have mustathna. Mustathna is exception. Mustathna means to do exception. Istathna, it means to accept. So hadarat tullab kulluhum, the students were present, all of them, illa hamidan, except hamidan. So when you give istisna like that, you have to the one you are secluding, or the one you are accepting, you have to make him mansub. But that's not always the case. When we are treating istisna, we'll see why it's done. Okay, mujab and tam and all these things, we'll see why, how it's done. Then munada, of course, when you are calling something and then it's mudaf ilay, the mudaf have to take fatha. So you see the example, Ya Abdullah, Ya Aba Bakrin. You don't say Ya Abu Bakr. It's a typical grammatical error. You just say that someone sitting by you, you know that you have committed a grammatical error. You say Ya Abu Bakr. No. If it's mudaf, the thing is mudaf ilay. You are calling it, the mudaf have to be mansub. So Ya Aba Bakrin, Ya Abdullah, Ya Abdul Karim. But in today's, in our madaris, we don't take care. Just mention the name like that. So have majrurat min al-asma. Majrurat, they are also actual classes of nouns. When they come, always by default, they are going to be majrur. And so the first one we have al-mudaf ilay. Mudaf ilay, of course, we all know mudaf ilay daiman yu'rabu majrur. So Qur'anu kitabullahi. So this Allahi, kitabullah, book of Allah. This is mudaf ilay. Mudaf ilay is always majrur. Then the second one, he says that al-masbuku bi harfi jar. Anything that comes after harf jar. Mana al-masbuk, sabaqa actually means to proceed. So al-masbuk, the thing which has been preceded by a harf jar, bi harf jar. So if it now is preceded by harf jar, it will be mansub. So at-tullabu fil fasl. You see fasl, there is harf jar before it, it will be kasra. So when you see this, you don't ask why is it kasra. is al-masbuq min harf al-jar. It has been preceded by a harf al-jar. The same way, if you see this, you don't ask why is Allah having kasra. It's mudaf ilayhi. Mudaf ilayhi is majrur in Arabic language. Then we have the tawabi'. Tawabi' is actually tawabi' is the plural of tabi'. Tabi' means someone who follows. Tawabi' is followers. But actually, let's see what it means. It has a different meaning in terms of Arabic. التابع هو الاسم المشارك. Is an اسم مشارك لما قبله في إعرابه مطلقا وهو على 4 أنواع. There are 4 types of tawabi'. Actually, tawabi', let me explain it to you. Let's see if I say they are actually like agents. When they come, then now they come in between nouns. Of course, most of them are conjunctions, like the na'at, it could be a conjunction, and when it comes, then now the 2 things that they are joining together, they will all have the same i'rab. So it's a similar thing like a tabi'. Okay, it makes sure that what is the second thing that comes, and then the second and the first thing that they are joining together, they will have the same i'rab. I hope that is clear. And the second will have the i'rab of the first. So it is following it in terms of i'rab. Let's look at the first one he mentioned is na'at. Let's the example here. أحضر الطالب الجديد. That's the first one that he mentioned. أحضر الطالب الجديد. So see here, أحضر. This hadara is the verb. What is coming is the dua, and the dua we all know is marfu. So al-jadidu is the new. It's na'at, and na'at will follow the noun. It is modifying no matter what be the condition. Whether it is, if it's marfu, it's going to be marfu. It is mansub, it's going to be mansub. It's majrur, it's going to be majrur. So it follows it in terms of i'rab. So it's a tabi'. Tabi', as I said, is a follower. It means follower. It means it follows it in no matter what the i'rab be. The adjective will always have that same i'rab. We have seen this even in book 1. We have studied this. The adjective will always have the i'rab of the noun it is modifying. So here, yatlubul mudiru at-talib al-jadida. The mudir, the principal, is seeking. He's calling. He's calling out for the new student. So here, the teacher is requesting who? The mudir is requesting who? The new student. But at-taliba is mansub. So the adjective will also be mansub. Adjective follows the noun. It is modifying in terms of i'rab. No matter the i'rab, whether fatha, kasra, dhamma, it will also have the same i'rab. So that's, we have said this in terms of even in book 1. So that's na'at. And na'at, it will make the sifa will always follow the noun it is modifying. No matter the i'rab, it will take that same i'rab as the noun it is modifying. So that's what we need to know. Haza daftaru talibi al-jadidi. This is the notebook of the new student. So talibi al-jadidi. So this na'at is following this noun, because in terms of i'rab, it is kasra, and then it is also having kasra. Then the second one he mentioned is tawkid. Tawkid is for emphasis. So let's see example. Hadara at-tullabu kulluhum. The students, they were present, all of them. So at-tullabu is the students. But if you want to say kulluhum, all of them, that all of them is for emphasis. It's coming to emphasize the student, meaning there's no exception. But in Arabic language, it is saying that it should have the same i'rab. If at-tullabu is, as you can see, is marfu, then kulluhum should be marfu. It's, let's say at-tullaba. Now it is no more at-tullab, it's now at-tullaba. It shouldn't also be kulluhum. It should now be kullahum. The same way at-tullabi, it should now be kullihim, not kulluhum or kullahum, now kullihim. So you can see, so the tawkid, emphasis like kullu, it could be kulla or kulli, depending on the thing that it is emphasizing. If it is marfu, it will be marfu. It is mansub, it will be mansub. It is majrur, it will be majrur. I don't know whether you get me. Okay, the same other thing is nafs, nafsuhu. So let's say qala li hadha al-mudiru nafsuhu. Qala li hadha al-mudiru nafsuhu. Qala li hadha al-mudiru nafsuhu. That's how it should be. So qala li hadha, it is said to me, al-mudiru, meaning the teacher said this to me, nafsuhu, himself. I don't know what they get me. And that nafsuhu is coming to represent the mudir. So the mudir is having dhamma is marfu, should be also be marfu. Now see here, sa'alatul mudira nafsahu. So al-mudira is the object and maf'ul bihi mansub. So the emphasis, the nafsuhu initially, it should also be nafsahu, nafsa, not nafsu, because the mudir is mansub, so it should also follow it mansub. Note, nafs is coming to emphasize. It's meaning not anyone, he himself, I saw him himself. So meaning not anyone, I am trying to emphasize. So such all those emphasis, kulluhum or nafs, it could be nafsu, nafsa, nafsi, kullu, kulla, kulli, depending on the thing it is emphasizing. If it's mansub, it will be mansub, majhul, it will be majhul, marfu, it will be marfu. Then the next one he said is atf. Atf, and we have seen this, atf, harf atf. That's the first example I used to explain tawabi. He's saying that if a harf atf come, of course, harf atf always when it joins two nouns or two things together. This one is called the ma'tuf alay. The first one is called the ma'tuf alay, and then the second one is called the ma'tuf. The ma'tuf alay and then the ma'tuf, they should have the same i'rab. If this one is marfu, like here, hamidun, this one is also going to be marfu, like here, sadiqu. So kharaja hamidun wa sadiquhu. But if it is, you can see the wa here. If the first one is mansub, as you are seeing, hamidan, all that is clear. Talaba al-mudiru hamidan wa sadiqa, not sadiqu. Now it's also going to be mansub. Talaba al-mudiru hamidan wa sadiqa. Aina kutubu hamidin. You can see here is now kesra. So the harf al-atf joining them, it makes sure that the two things it is joining, they are having the same i'rab. We have seen this in book 1. So this is also part of the tawabi, the harf al-atf. The last one is al-badal. Al-badal means substitute. It means substitute. Two things, it's kind of emphasis, but not necessarily emphasis. So anajaha akhuka Hashim, as your brother Hashim pass. So brother Hashim is still the same with this brother, and then Hashim is referring to the same thing. It's like in English I say Mr. Muhammad the doctor came here. Mr. Muhammad the doctor came here. So that Mr. Muhammad and the word the doctor, they are referring to the same thing. Mr. Muhammad the doctor came here. So the second one, the doctor, is not necessarily important. If I remove it, the sentence will still make sense. Mr. Muhammad came here, but me adding the doctor, Mr. Muhammad the doctor came here, is to kind of, in Arabic language, that's what we term as badal. It's a substitute. It's substituted. It just comes for clarity, to clarify that the person from another person. So anajaha akhuka Hashim, as your brother. Maybe he has several brothers, but so now he mentioned the name. As your brother Hashim pass, I don't know whether you get me. We call this a badal. In Arabic language, they would have the same i'rab. That, like I said, Mr. Muhammad the teacher, or Mr. Muhammad the doctor. Mr. Muhammad and the doctor in Arabic language, they should have the same i'rab. So anajaha akhuka, you see, it's marfu. Marfu bi wow. This is asma'ul khamsa. So marfu bi wow. Okay, alama to rafi huwa al-wow. It's the wow. And Hashimun, the alama of marfu is domatain. It's the dhamma. It's a dhamma. So dhamma and wow, that's the, because they are from different patterns of words, they are all still marfu. But this one is marfu bi wow, and this one is marfu bi dhamma. Then the next one, Naja has a toy. Now let's come here and look at here. Arifu akhaka. So arif akhaka Hashiman. So here it is now mansub bil alif, and here mansub bil fatha. Arifu. Now here has a toy. This haza is mabni, so it is marfu. Just that it is mabni. You don't. I mean, it cannot be. It doesn't take anything. It's mabni. It's fixed as we leave it. So we leave it like that. And so here, this one will just take the burden. If it's marfu, it's just a substitute. The badal now will take it. Majhur. Let's look at the majhur. That's the last thing. Aina ghurfatu akhika Hashimin. So you see, aina ghurfatu. This one is mudaf ilay. Majhur bil ya, li'annahu min asma'il khamsa. I hope you can remember. So ghurfatu akhika Hashimin. So this one is majhur, and this also majhur. Majhur bil ya, majhur bil kasra. Aina ghurfatu hadha talibi. This one is mabni, and this one is mu'rab majhul al-kasr. Then here he's trying to tell us something, but we'll see it later. There are two types of atf. Okay, al-atf naw'an, al-atf al-nasakh and al-atf al-bayan. We'll see it later, so there's no need to worry. Atf al-bayan and al-atf al-nasakh. Haza wa billahi at-tawfiq. We are done with the lesson like that. A very long lesson. Alhamdulillah, we have come to the end. Barakallahu li wa lakum fi Qur'an al-Hakim. You have to be, as I said, the first lesson is actually very long. This is the first lesson and it's very long like that. So just have to be here, and then we try to understand as much as we could, and then we ask Allah to grant us the ability to relate whatever we are learning to the Quran. May Allah widen our understanding of the Quran. Barakallahu li wa lakum fi Qur'an al-Hakim. Wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum min ayati wa zikri al-hakim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.